From the basement of the Hotpeds Guide to the Galaxy World headquarters located in northern Colorado, this is the Hotpeds Guide podcast. I'm Matt Reber.
I'm Brown Jake. Can Matt make a 43-yard field goal? Are unicorns real? We answered those questions and more on this episode of the Hotpeds Guide podcast.
Hey there, Hotpeds and beer geeks. Welcome to another episode of the Hotpeds Guide podcast, brought to you by Beerds by Nick. With me, as always...
Whoa.
Excuse me. With me, as always, is the only man who thinks my voice is manly. Jake the Brown Guy.
It is really manly. When we let the 16-year-old girl on the podcast.
My voice hasn't cracked in at least 2 weeks. That's weird.
Or 24 years.
So, it's season 3.
Season 3, we're kicking it off, 2019.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So, Happy New Year.
Hopefully we don't double doink this one.
Can't triple doink a double doink.
Can't triple double doink a doink. We got to see the official rules on that one.
Yeah, right. Oh man. But you're pretty happy about that kick, right?
Oh yeah.
I mean, being an Eagles fan.
It was an up and down weekend last weekend. The down part was the wife got the flu, the oldest kid got the stomach flu. And I thought I was making it through it, that Sunday was going to be a stay-at-home day. I was going to be able to watch the football games, relax, watch the Eagles game. And it just happens I came down with the stomach flu on Sunday. So I was sitting there in agonizing pain watching the Eagles game. And it did not help that game was so close, because every time I jumped up out of my seat, I had to go run to the bathroom. So that one, I'm like, just sit down, sit down. Just watch the kick. And once he missed it, I was like, yes, oh crap. And I just ran to the bathroom.
Oh man.
So what the funny part was upstairs. So I'm watching it on delay on Hulu. Right. And my wife's watching it upstairs, like live. We have over the air, and she's watching it.
Right.
So she thinks I'm watching it live. So she comes downstairs and she's like, "Oh, you're way behind." I'm like, "Oh, what are you watching live?" She's like, "Yeah." And then she just quietly,
you were still like midway in the third quarter.
She's like, "The game's over." And she goes and leaves, and then she comes back down, and she just slowly pats me on the back, and then goes back upstairs. I'm like, what the fuck was that pat for?
Was that a sympathy pat, or was that a congratulations pat?
And this is when Chicago's driving down to get into field goal range, and I'm like, what the fuck is that? What was that for? And they missed, and I was like, why couldn't you just fucking tell me?
You wouldn't have ruined it for me.
I know. She's just like, well, I just wanted to see if you're doing all right because you're sick. I'm like, I'm also an Eagles fan. Making me more tense than I should be.
Well, and I was kind of thinking, all right, they might save this timeout just in case he makes it, and they want to use that timeout on their next drive.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, they may not ice him. They may just keep hold of that timeout. And it was taking so long for them to call timeout that I was like, oh, they're not going to ice him.
Yeah.
I was like, they're not going to ice him at all. It's like they're going to keep that timeout. And then right at the last second, he calls the timeout, and immediately, because the first kick was perfect. I mean, it hooked just right,
right
down the middle. And I thought, all right, well, he's fucked.
Oh, yeah.
Because right before he went out on the field, they were talking about all the stats of how many he's missed, how many he's had blocked, and like, oh, he really, he's only 48% from this yardage.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm just like, oh boy, they have fucked Cody Parkey.
And they do the replay of every, like, before that, they're like, oh, that's going so quick. They don't, well, he's hit a couple goalposts here. So, and they kind of mentioned it, but then the timeout happened. They're like, and now we're going to show all of them. And I was like,
we have some time.
I was like, he did 4 in one game. Look at this. Doink. And a doink. And I'm like, holy crap. Like, think if they were playing that on the screen at Bears Field and everybody's going, no, right? Jackass. So, but yeah, it was one of those that once he let it go, and I'm just like, no, you're going to miss it. You're going to miss it. And it hit. And I was like, it looked like at the first hit that it was still going to go in. It still had the chance of just kind of getting that brush off and going in.
I thought it did go in.
Yeah.
Because it hit and then it went, I thought it went back behind the crossbar.
Yeah.
And I immediately was like, oh, it went in. And then all of a sudden I saw the ball tumbling back and I was like,
then you saw the rest
wait a minute, it didn't go in. And dude, the look on Parkey's face was just, I felt so bad for that guy.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it was just one of those things where he already went out on the field nervous as hell, not thinking he was going to make it. He had just made one, but didn't get to keep it.
Yeah.
And, now he's in this situation where the pressure's really on him. And it just goes to show, a lot of people think that icing the kicker doesn't really work, but it does. If you got the right kicker, it works.
Nothing. Yeah. If you have the right kicker, they don't give a shit. They're like,
right.
What, 56 yards? You want me to do that shit again? Let me show you. Bam!
Yeah.
What?
I could have done that backwards.
I kicked a 65-yarder on warm-ups this morning. Come on.
Yeah.
56 ain't shit, And there, his arguments over the thing, and I was watching guys going, they should cut him and spend the money to get like a Justin Tucker and stuff like that. And the coach comes out and says, "No, we're sticking with them."
Yeah, they defended him. I mean, they basically were like, there's, he made a good kick.
Yeah,
he didn't get to keep it. That's a tough situation. There's a lot of pressure on a guy. Blah 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 blah. And I was like, wow, that's pretty stand up for the team to stand behind him and not be like, oh, that's his fucking fault that we're not moving on.
We'll see after the Super Bowl. They'll be like, oh, you're fucking out of here. We're going to say face right now.
Yeah, yeah.
Because we don't want you to die.
If we wait until March, we won't have to pay him. Like they have some he has some clause in his contract.
Yeah,
you can't fire me in January.
Yeah, if we fire him right now, we still have to pay him for the rest of the year. So let's just wait. So with that, and it's kind of funny, you read the news, Goose Island comes to the backing of him and saying, hey, you guys think that it's really easy to kick a 43-yard field goal? Come to our brewery. We'll put up a goalpost. And if you kick a 43-yard field goal and make it, free beer for a year.
Wow.
And I was like, no, that's gutsy, man. That is gutsy. And people were talking crap to him. Yeah, I'll show up and I'll kick a 40. I'm like, really?
So did anybody actually try it?
It's actually going to happen this Saturday.
Okay.
So they're been putting on their Twitter page and their Facebook page they're actually building the field goal in-house at Goose Island.
Out of beer cans.
That'd be really cool. But they're actually like, like they had the drawing schematics and all that stuff. So I think that's awesome. Get those guys out there that says, man, I could make a goddamn 40, the armchair quarterbacks who's like, oh, you got to just check down, man. Always check down. What are you doing throwing long bombs? You know? Yeah, you don't know when there's a 355 pound linebacker coming right at you. You throw the ball.
Yeah. And there's going to be all those guys that have the side bets.
Oh, yeah.
Like their buddy has heard that that they're going down there and they're like, dude, I bet you $1,000 you can't make that bet. Or, and then the guy's not going to make it. And he's going to be like, well, the surface wasn't regulation. They had AstroTurf and it wasn't the proper thickness.
The wind was blowing a little bit to the left. Yeah,
it'd be cool if they could actually do it at the stadium on the field and just replicate that whole atmosphere and the pressure of it. And
Get 10,000 people to show up and boo at them. Oh, that'd be freaking
offering
great.
up free beer, like, hey, we're giving free beer out at the stadium. Anybody that shows
up, we'll give you a free beer, and you get a chance to kick a 43-yard field goal. And if you make it, you get free beer for a year.
Dude, my sister and brother-in-law live in Chicago. I'm going to challenge my brother-in-law to go down there and see if he can make that.
I would. I mean, I think if it was something like, if there was a chance or something around here really close, I think I would just go and attempt it.
Yeah, why not? What do you got to lose,
I know. If I miss it, I miss it.
As long as you're not the guy that's walking up talking shit like, I can make this shit.
I was a high school kicker. You're 42 now. When's the last time you kicked a football?
You were on the dance team. Yeah, but we had to kick. Those high kicks are hard to do, man. Especially when you got pom-poms in your hands.
Oh, you're that kind of dancer. So much credit to them. I thought that was kind of a good way to kind of they're getting the back of the kicker as well. They saw the Bears did it, so I think they're going, hey, man, I would like to see it.
Yeah.
And more articles are coming out saying it was tipped, that a guy actually got his hand on the ball and deflected the path. So
yeah, I've seen the replays, and I don't see it.
Yeah.
The camera angles that they have, it doesn't look like it was actually tipped, but people that were actually there and close to the situation were like, oh no, I saw it. It was tipped. And it's like, yeah, you're a Bears fan. You were in row 359, section C, up in the upper deck.
I got it on my phone. Look, enhance, right there.
Photography.
See, that's when it comes in. Photography. No, and it's kind of funny because they showed the picture of the guy that they say that tipped the ball. On the play, he was actually sitting on the bench. So I was like, man, that's amazing.
that he managed to tip the ball from the bench.
He was actually drinking a Pepsi as he opened it. It was like, shh. He made the ball.
That's what happened. The guy opened the Pepsi right when he kicked it.
I know. Just to mess it all up.
Parky heard it.
Got to count that as a tip ball. It's official.
Just the
NFL.
Tip. Just the tip. It was a wild game, but man, your Eagles are gonna have a hard time, man. They got to keep that magic going if they're gonna make it all the way through this year.
Yeah, and it's tough. I mean, they got the Saints next, and I think that's going to be a really, really tough game. Yeah. Hopefully,
Saints are on fire, dude.
Yeah, they were on a little downturn a little bit towards the end of the season, lost to Dallas.
Yeah.
So I'd like to see how that game actually turns out. That team loves Nick Foles. I don't know what it is about that guy. He starts the season really crappy. They put in Wentz. Wentz carries them a bit. Then Wentz is somehow magically hurt, and Foles comes in, and there we go. We're back in the playoffs. Like, yeah. I was counting, like, not watching. I would probably watch a couple games here or there, but I wasn't thinking the Eagles were going to be in the playoffs. I was going to say, I'll watch the Kansas City game when they play. I was really interested in the Indianapolis Colts game. So against Houston, I actually thought Houston would win that game, but look, I don't know. He got something lit under his butt because he wants to try to win something, man. He is playing to win. So
he's got the butt fire.
Yeah, and the good butt fire, not the butt fire I had on Sunday. So.
You'll have butt fire tomorrow. We just had wings.
I know. I'm going to pickle butt fire.
Joining us today, we have the man behind Beards by Nick.
Hello.
Nick, thanks for joining us. So you have 2 new products.
Yeah.
Of the newest products, one of those being the beard wash.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that.
So I'm actually really super excited about this. I went through a couple of trials, and I just got tired of not being able to wash my beard because you should not use hair shampoo on your beard. It's not formulated for that. They're different.
I think a lot of people with beards don't realize that.
They don't. It's so your head hair actually needs a lower pH, and your beard hair needs a higher pH. It actually strips all the oils and makes it, wear a black shirt and you look down and it looks like it snowed on your shirt from your beard. You don't want that. So this is an all-natural one. There's no crazy chemicals or anything. Yeah, he's got a clean shirt.
Making sure I have a clean shirt because I'm wearing a black shirt right now.
Yeah. So
good product.
Everything was carefully chosen for beards specifically. There's oil in there, different vegetable saponifications. That's a fancy word for soaps.
Okay.
But it's formulated pH-wise and everything just for beards. Should not be used every day. If anybody's thinking like, ooh, I'll just wash my beard every day. Like every 3 to 5 days is good.
Yeah, I'm a 5-dayer.
Yeah, I'm like a 3 to 4 dayer, or if it's like a really bad day at work and I have just all sorts of crap in my beard, then it's going to get washed.
Yeah, yeah. One of the things I love about your products is your ingredients you can actually read and understand. Yeah. There is no phosphates or any of the other things that I read the side of a bottle and I go, oh, that can't be good.
I don't even know what that is.
Right.
I'm a chemist and I don't know what some of those things are. You read it and you're like, I got to go pull out a book because I don't remember what that is. So, it's all, the goal was to be just as natural and healthy for your beard as possible. Right. I use everything before I let it out to the public, and it goes through a couple of trials. So if I'm not happy with it, it's not going to be on your beard. And
I appreciate the fact that it doesn't have all the garbage in it that a lot of the other things have.
Yeah, our goal is all natural, but not crazy expensive.
Nice. And that's another great thing is your price is so much lower than other beard products.
Well, since there's only me, I don't have to pay anybody else.
That's true. Yeah. Well, I think that's one thing people may not know about your product is it's all handmade by you. So it's not getting made in some factory somewhere. Where
I'm not buying it.
You have all of the quality control there.
I buy everything from reputable sources. I've sourced everything. Spent a lot of time on the phone and emails with different people and companies trying to get the best products I can for the best price so I can pass that down to everybody. And then, I blend and make everything myself. And it goes through a couple of different trials until I get the recipe I'm happy with.
And the other product that you have new is the beard wipes.
Yes.
And I have been talking about these things ever since you talked about them. I was like, oh, I can't wait till he does them.
And I actually forgot to bring some today, so I apologize for that.
I still got 2 left, so I should be good until Tuesday.
There you go.
No, wait. You need one now.
Yeah, thanks. I did eat pizza before you guys showed up.
Yeah, they're great for, I use them if I'm going out to eat. They're in my back pocket because as a beard wearer for 20-some years now, crap gets in your beard.
Right.
You're eating cereal in the morning, you're like, there's milk everywhere. I don't know how.
I never had the problem when I didn't have a beard.
No.
I never had stuff on my face ever, but for some reason it's like a magnet for anything.
Yeah, it's everywhere. It doesn't matter. You can be the cleanest person in the world, but if you have a beard, there's going to be crap in it. And the beard wipes are just water, oil, and salt to mix the two. So it's 100% all natural, and it just cleans it up, gives it a quick shine, adds a little beard oil, and you're good to go.
They're awesome. If you guys haven't tried them yet, you need to grab them because it's literally you just pull it out of a little bag, give your beard a nice wipe, and it's got a little bit of oil in it too, so your beard feels soft after you do it, and it cleans everything up. Yeah. They're awesome. I love them.
And you can just throw it away because they're 100% biodegradable, so you don't have to worry about polluting and all that stuff.
I call them a game changer.
The game changer?
I don't know what game they're changing, but it is it's a game changer.
He screams it out at work after he eats like wings. He's like, "You see this game changer?" And everybody's like, "What is he talking about?"
Nobody knows.
Just let him be. He's happy. You get to wipe his beard and just let him go.
So check out Beards by Nick. Where can they find you?
It's beardsbynick.squarespace.com.
Beer news, I was reading this. It was actually shared on the captains and assistant captains Facebook page. And I totally spaced this out because they posted this during GABF. But Charlie Pamzion, I think I don't know if I'm actually mentioning that. He is actually one of the founders of the AHA. He actually founded it with another guy.
Papazian?
Whatever. there's no I. It's
What a total Nico moment right now.
Oh,
Did you know there's this guy named Charlie that founded the AHA?
I know.
And I think he had something to do with GABF. Like, I think he came up with the initials GABF. Charlie Papazian.
Charlie Papazian.
Oh my God!
I didn't know how to
Putting
say his
that
last
shit
name.
on Instagram.
But he's actually stepping down from the Brewers Association this year. Or actually, this month.
Yeah, he did that last year. He announced that last year.
Yeah. So, but it's actually happening this month.
So it's not news.
Well, I'm just letting you know it's going to be on this month. He announced that he was going to step down this year. He now made it official. It's going to be this date.
Thanks for the heads up, buddy.
Hey, man, I did not know that guy was that important. I probably met him like 4 or 5 times.
He's like the godfather of homebrewing, man.
Well, he's kind of really skinny. You think he'd be a lot fatter.
That made my day. Thank you
go.
very much.
Well, I was looking up different stuff, and I'm like, this must be really important because they're sharing it with all. And they made it sound like it was just happening now.
Well, they announced it months ago that he was stepping down.
See,
But-
the article I got was one that was saying, "Thank you, Charlie," and it was about him stepping down this month. That was put out on the 4th.
Yeah.
So that's what I was going off of.
So you know the guy that everybody shakes on the stage, everybody shakes their hand. That's Charlie Papazian.
I know that guy. I've shook it in his hand.
I just didn't know that his name was Charlie Papazian.
Well, I can't read fucking. You know I can't read for shit. I knew him as Charlie. I'm like, that's that Charlie? I called him Chuck all the time. I'm like, what's up, Chuck?
That's good stuff. Well, it is sad though that he's retiring because, he has been so influential in the craft beer industry.
Yeah.
And not only that, but in homebrewing and in encouraging people to homebrew.
Yeah.
And the books that he has written have really become the standard for homebrewers.
Like
and,
the joy of cooking, but for home brewing.
Yeah, exactly. So
Isn't it actually called the joy of home brewing?
I mean, it's a well-deserved retirement. The fact that he has held on this long, staying in the industry, just says a lot about how much he loves it.
Yeah.
Doing
something, yeah.
And it will be sad to see him go.
Yeah, because he's doing it on his 70th birthday, which is the 23rd of this month. So
Yeah.
you got to think 70,
Yeah.
putting in, like we always talked about, oh, yeah, I want to get retired around, you were talking about like 52, 55, 56, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more thinking of like, I got 2 kids, it's like 62, 64. But I'm not trying to get to 70. I want to get out of there well before I turn 70. And I was like, man, he's doing this on his 70th birthday? Holy shit.
Yeah, but it's an industry he loves.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean,
Yeah, you got to think of like, man, he's going and doing something new, talking to homebrewers, talking to brewers, drinking beers, seeing all the different stuff that's come out, over the years that he's been doing this has been crazy.
Yeah.
And when, with the Great American Beer Festival, where it was started off in like a small, tiny hall to now it's like this huge event and the World Beer Cup and all that stuff that goes on.
Yeah.
So
I mean, kind of on a funny note though, whenever I first went to GABF and I was a beer geek, the year that I was a beer geek, I was standing with a group of other beer geeks and the group kind of walked away and I stopped because I thought I saw Nico and I was like, oh, I'm going to go chat with Nico. Well, this guy comes up and says hi to me, and he's like, "Hey, so you're one of the beer geeks this year?" And I said, "Yeah." And
Obviously.
we got to talking and blah 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 blah, and geeking out about beer for a minute. And the whole time I'm sitting there going, "This guy looks exactly like Charlie Papazian." Like, it's uncanny how much he looks like Charlie.
And you're like, this is like a Comic-Con. Everybody dresses like him. Like how there is like 50 Spider-Mans at Comic-Con.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be talking to the real Spider-Man.
And I'm just like, wow, this is like uncanny how much this guy looks like. And I'm thinking he's not going to just be hanging out amongst a bunch of volunteers. And I walk away. I say goodbye and I walk away. And one of the other beer geeks comes up to me. He's like, "Oh my God, dude." He's like, "What was it like talking to Charlie?" And I was like, "Who?"
No, Nico's over there. I got to go get him.
They're like, "You were just talking to Charlie Papazian." And I said, "Oh, yeah, I was." Like, that's when it clicked with me, like, who I was talking to. But I'm really glad that I didn't realize who it was while I was talking to him, Or at the very least, it didn't click with me like this is actually Charlie Papazian. Because I guarantee you, the way my voice cracked at the beginning of the show, it would have done it several times while I was talking to him. And I probably wouldn't have had the courage to talk to him the way that I did. So,
It's like, hi, how's it going? You're a beer geek.
Oh, you're one of the special beer geeks. Let's get a helmet for this guy. So already this year, in Colorado, we've had a brewery close.
From like it's
January 2nd, we had our first brewery, our first
man down.
First man down, and you're going to be surprised by who it was.
Lay it on me.
I'm wearing their hat right now.
Well, you have your hat backwards, asshole.
That's why I turned my hat backwards. Lost Highway.
Really? They closed down?
Yeah. Lost Highway. They shut their doors on the 2nd.
Damn, that sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was really unfortunate. I mean, it's a brewery that's, they were on the show. We really enjoyed talking to them. We enjoyed visiting them. Great people.
Yeah.
Good beers.
Oh, yeah. Great beers.
I think, unfortunately, just their new location wasn't the right location.
Yeah.
And we kind of talked about it when we went out there to visit them, that was going to be a very tough location for them to succeed. Being hidden back in that industrial complex where really there's not a whole lot. I mean, there's houses around them,
but not really, really close to them.
Not close to them and not within like easy access. And I think that's what ultimately finally caught up with them.
Yeah, that's really sad because every time we went to their brewery, we really enjoyed their beers. We had them on the show. I think actually we had them on the show to kind of do a collaboration. It was the collaboration for us, kind of show little thing they were doing. It was kind of part of our. It was also kind of part of our women in craft beer. Yeah,
because we, talking with Laura and getting her input on being, her and her husband really started one of the first craft beer bars in Colorado.
Yeah.
And so really for Colorado craft beer, they were kind of pioneers in the industry. Even though they weren't brewers at the time, they were still pioneering getting the beer out there and educating people.
Yeah.
So to see their brewery close is really sad.
Yeah. I mean, they had the awesome location downtown, but obviously the rent hikes got them out of that. The way they were sounding, I thought they were just they kind of knew it was a tough location, but there's, more housing development going on down the road that they're hoping was going to get up quicker, and that might have slowed it down quite a bit. So
yeah,
that's sad. Hopefully they come out with something different or decide to do something else we could go check out.
Yeah, I mean, and I wouldn't blame them if they just got out of the industry altogether. But I'd love to. I mean, I'm always loving to see new breweries open up. And so it kind of got me thinking about the breweries that closed last year. We had 11 total that closed last year. Some of them didn't actually close. They just kind of sold off to other breweries.
Yeah.
I think out of the 11, 5 of those closed their doors but sold to other breweries. So, it was kind of a 1-for-1 type situation. Mm-hmm. But, there was at least 4 others that closed permanently here in Colorado. And I think it kind of started that kind of adjustment in the direction of the breweries that aren't in the perfect location and aren't making exceptional beers.
Yeah. Are
slowly going to get kind of pushed out. And I think it kind of is the beginning. I don't think it's a bubble burst by any means. We do have breweries that are laying off their staff.
Yeah.
They're downsizing. They're closing additional tap rooms. Mm-hmm. But you also have breweries that are opening additional tap rooms. Yeah. Prost is they've had a tap room in Fort Collins for a while. Well, they're actually putting a brewery in Fort Collins now.
Oh, really?
So they're going to have that opens up probably in January or February. CB and Potts is opening up another location.
Oh, really?
and then you've also got Crooked Stave. Crooked Stave is opening up a facility in Fort Collins.
Jeez, they're all bombarding Fort Collins now.
Yeah.
Huh?
So I mean, it's northern Colorado is still growing. Even if it's Denver breweries that are moving up here, it's still growing. We still have new breweries.
Yeah.
One of the breweries that's opening up in Fort Collins is Envy Brewing. They're opening up in Fort Collins. They should be open in like January, February. And their head brewer is Brian Connery, who was the head brewer at Lost Highway at one point.
Oh, really?
So, it's one door closes and another one opens for a guy like him, which for him that, he's got pedigree. He's been a brewer, he was a cellarman for New Belgium. He brewed for Lost Highway. He brewed for Dogfish Head. I mean, he's been at a lot of breweries in the area and 20 some years in the industry. So he's got great opportunity. And so Envy is just one of 6 breweries that are set to open up in northern Colorado in February.
Jesus.
So
I think I'm with you. I think we're seeing the slow plateau. I think I want to see what happens with the full strength beer in liquor stores and gas stations as they start getting them.
right.
How that plays out.
Yeah.
I have not done any purchasing of that yet. I haven't thought about it.
I haven't either. But also our local grocery store doesn't have much for a selection yet.
Yeah.
They just have like full strength Budweiser, Bud Light, Coors Light.
They just
that type
switched
of
out the
thing.
3-2 for what they had.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
but it's going to be interesting to see and what that does to the mom and pop liquor stores as well as some of the breweries, where if they actually start getting more variety instead of being like, oh yeah, I'm not going to get any of this, I'm just going to go to High Hops, and then they they have this and this, I'll probably just grab that here.
Yeah.
So
I don't think in terms of craft beer it's going to make too much of an impact, because I don't see craft breweries making sales to these big grocery stores, simply for the fact that I think the grocery stores are going to want to buy larger quantities to get it at a lower price.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a quantity that a small brewery, a small guy like Odd 13 or even High Hops for that matter, is going to be able to accommodate the order that they're going to want to do. What I do think it's going to do is make it more of a challenge for those tiny liquor stores that can't afford to buy a truckload of Bud Light.
yeah.
And it's kind of the same conversation of what, we were talking about with breweries, of how if you're not in the perfect location and you're not making great beer, you're going to slowly get pushed out. Well, it's the same thing for these mom and pop liquor stores. If you're not in a perfect location and you don't have an awesome selection and an awesome store, then you're slowly going to get pushed out. And honestly, I think maybe for Colorado, that's something that kind of needs to happen. It's kind of a correction that needs to happen.
Yeah.
So, and for those of you that aren't in Colorado, basically about 3 years ago, so in Colorado, liquor stores were the only ones that were allowed to sell full-strength alcohol. Grocery stores only had 3.2, and they slowly transitioned to where now grocery stores can have full-strength beer in their grocery stores, and the only way they can get full-strength alcohol is if they buy out any liquor store that's within, I think, 1,500 feet.
Yeah, they have to have right to liquor license in a certain amount of area. So if they have a liquor store right next door, they pretty much have to buy that guy out.
Right.
So.
Yeah. So, and again, I don't think it's going to be something where grocery stores are going to like corner the craft beer market. Now, I think you will see the New Belgiums, the Oscar Blues, maybe even left hand in some of these stores, just because they have the ability to meet they have the capacity to meet the needs of the grocery stores. But I don't think it's going to be. I don't think you're going to see Odd 13s and Wiley Roots and WeldWorks in these stores. At least not yet.
It's going to be a pretty kind of interesting process. It's something like I think it's going to be a slow correction to stuff like that. But I think we talked about, I don't think it's going to be a bubble burst because there's still a lot of applications out there. There's still a lot of planning that's already been submitted to, counties and cities about opening breweries. And
right. Yeah.
So it's something interesting you're going to see. I did not know that many were going into Fort Collins and even Northern Colorado so quick.
There's 19 in Northern Colorado right now that are in the planning or
works.
Development stage.
Yeah. So it's going to be something to keep an eye on and watch.
Yeah.
But I am it's kind of a wait and see if any of the ones that we were like, ooh, yeah, man, their beer is decent but not great.
Yeah.
To see if they actually make it another year or make it, past this year.
Right. Yeah.
So, but a lot of it's going to be based on location too. If they're the only, and they're the only guy in a housing complex within, and there's not another brewery in 5-10 miles, I can see him lasting another 3-4 years.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I think it's I don't know. Again, it's something that I think Colorado still has communities that don't have breweries. But if they continue to saturate Fort Collins, it's, but Fort Collins, I don't think has the population or the capacity to handle much more. Sitting at 28 now, soon to be 30. I just don't think that they have the capacity to hold up much more. Colorado's sitting at 388 right now.
yeah.
So there's, like I said, there's communities that still have a gap that, there's a spot for a brewery, but
When we were key to get one until the building burned down.
yeah.
So,
yeah.
it's going to be kind of seeing, they're saying there's still going to be one that goes in there when they change it from a 3-story building to a 2-story building design. So I'd like to see what actually goes in there and how it comes out, and what that does to Windsor, because technically Windsor got its third, but it's still far out there.
Yeah.
It's not in the town of Windsor, even though the town of Windsor seems so huge. It's not in like the downtown remote area where I thought it was going to be. So
Yeah.
I'd like to see what that does to the town. I'd like to see what Greeley does with a couple different ones opening up, when WeldWorks starts to slowly lose the city.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No shit.
So, but another article I was reading today is Disneyland in California got its first brewery. Ballast Point is going to open a brew pub in Disneyland. They sound like this end of this month or in next month. They're going to be opening a brewery. It's only going to be a little 3-barrel system, but they're going to have beers there that they only brew for their brew pub. So they'll be selling them at Disneyland. So that might be something to look forward to when I take the girls.
An excuse to go to Disneyland now.
I mean, it'll be a new to me brewery. I can mark it off the list. I'm still trying to get to 100. I don't know how long it's going to take. We'll find out.
Well, if they make it, they might make it like Epcot Center, where you've got all these little worlds that have, all these little countries.
Yeah.
That have, different breweries that represent each country.
Maybe they should do that, but it's just the United States, and then you have each state and a couple different craft beers from each state.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool. That'd actually be really worth to go to Disneyland.
Well, this weekend is Big Beers and Barley Wines.
And we're drinking a big beer right now.
We're drinking a big beer right now.
To celebrate
we're
that we're not there.
Rum Barrel Aged 1050 from Oscar Blues. But, yeah, we're not at Big Beers again this year, which really stinks.
Which everybody that I follow on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter are all sharing these pictures, and I'm like, that guy has 5 more followers than me. Why is he there?
Well, that's one of the reasons why I'm not looking at Instagram too much today, just because it was kind of depressing me, all the people that were there or pre-gaming or had skied today and we're getting ready to go to Big Beers tomorrow, and so it was kind of a bummer. I guess we had the opportunity to go. We just didn't plan very well to make it happen.
Yeah, it's kind of tough when Big Beers is this close to the holiday season.
Yeah,
it's kind of really tough to be like, oh yeah, I'll put this money aside, and that'll be for the trip. And then you're like, oh yeah, I forgot to buy my wife a Christmas gift, and so you pull a little bit of money, and then it's like, oh, my parents want to go do this, and you pull a little bit more money. So. It's kind of really tough to kind of, so it was kind of one of those things. It was on our calendar, but we knew it was coming up, and it was like, we haven't really got an official invite, and it would be kind of nice to plan everything, but then it's like, would we really go? Because if we use vacation days, you're using really vacation days at the beginning of the year, and you don't want to do that. So,
saving all those for Mexico.
Yes, in February. So it's kind of one of those events that I would love to go to in the next 3 years. It doesn't have to be this year, and it doesn't have to be next year, but the year after I'm going.
One of these years we're gonna get to go. It's an awesome festival from what I've heard, and I'm really sad we're not going. But our buddy Justin is giving a little talk. So, that'll be cool when he gets back to get him on the show and listen to him tell us what he talked about. Something else that's kind of an effect of the government shutdown that I think is kind of interesting is among the government shutdown, the TTB is shut down.
Oh, yeah.
So which basically means any new licensing for, new breweries or anything like that isn't going to happen, so we probably won't see really any new breweries open up while we are in this stage.
Yeah.
But also some of the bigger breweries that release a lot of packaged beer and are trying to get new labels approved and new barcodes approved and all kinds of things like that aren't able to get it done because there's nobody in the office to approve it. So there's this like impact on craft beer that I think some of the bigger guys are probably feeling. I don't think the smaller guys are feeling it quite as much, but I think the bigger guys definitely are.
Oh, yeah. I think they had a lot of big plans for the beginning of the year, maybe a new seasonal that they're maybe going to be putting out, and they hadn't got everything approved yet. Because, hey, man, don't worry about that right now. We could get that done in January.
Yeah.
Well, do you see the government might shut down? No. They do that from time to time for like 2 days. And then they're back up and running, and we could just go about our happy way and get our label approved and get our beer distributed. And it's probably sitting there going, shit.
Yeah.
We can't get this. But it would be kind of funny if someone found out what they're going to name it and what the label was and somehow sneak it in before them. And be like, the people are like, yeah, you can't do that because so-and-so already put it out.
But wait.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to get political, and we'll not talk about all the stuff that has to do with the shutdown because I know your family's trying to get across the border. So
they're already across, buddy.
So, but I personally, I think that the impact it will be felt if it continues for much longer.
Oh, yeah.
I think there's going to be some breweries that are like, well, this beer was intended to go out for distribution, and now we're sitting on it, or we're stuck trying to sell it out of our tap room.
Yeah. I mean, it may help the consumer because they're going to be like, shit, come to our tap room, and instead of paying the $12 for a 6-pack, we're going to sell them for $12 for a 12-pack because we got to get rid of this beer.
Yeah.
And if you come to the tap room, and it may be a win-win for both of them, you get a beer that you're going to get probably half off now. And while you're there, you might as well have a beer. So know, and they're going to find out, you know what? We should just do this all the time.
Let's get the government shut down.
Let's make sure we shut down the government like on a monthly basis.
Yeah.
When's the next time they have to do their budget? That's monthly, right? Because I do my budget monthly.
No, you don't. You don't do your budget.
I don't. Abacus is supposed to be coming by monthly, but since the government shut down, he's busy.
He's having a hard time.
Yeah, well, he gets paid by the government. He's on welfare, so I don't pay him. Well, fuck that shit. Get a job, Abacus.
Poor Abacus.
He's an intern. Interns will get paid. So, but yeah, I could see the point of, you had a great idea, a great plan, and it's maybe like, oh shit, and even your other plans. Now you're just hoping, okay, because we got to get this in, we got to get packaging going. But
yeah.
I could see the sweat. But New Belgium's going to release another IPA here pretty soon, so they are ahead of the game.
Yeah. I mean, it's very possible that most everybody was already well prepared for any beers that are coming out right now.
Yeah.
But beers that they were planning on making, say, 3 months from now, and they're trying to get the labels and everything approved so that they can make that beer, it's getting pushed back. The
packaging and everything else that needs to come with all that stuff. So it is going to be, we'll see what happens. I don't think it's going to, the shutdown for the government's not going to last forever, but it's going to be, I wonder what the other breweries are going to do. So it is beer, but talking about events that happening this weekend, and we had other stuff that since last week you got to go cover, and I was supposed to go cover some stuff this week, but I got the sickness, which I haven't got the flu in like fucking forever, which was kind of like, I wasn't feeling like I was invincible, but to the flu, I just was amazed that I caught it. That's what so I blamed it on food, but now I really think I had the flu, the stupid flu. But yeah, you got to go and actually go and hang out at a Horse and Dragon and watch people brew some beer.
Well, I watched MASH.
Oh,
wasn't like I didn't stay long enough to watch like the full brewing process.
You're like, it takes forever.
It does take a long time.
Why do people do this fucking shit?
Yeah, but we're getting ready for Collaboration Fest. It's coming up in April. March
16th.
March 16th. So brewers are starting to brew their beers for Collaboration Fest. Our local High Hops and Horse and Dragon got together to make the beer that they are calling High Horse.
Oh, High Horse?
Yeah, which I thought was a really good name. And it's a blonde Baltic porter.
Interesting.
Yeah, I thought so too. And it was fun just to see the collaboration process. And to be completely honest with you, it wasn't as glamorous as I thought it was going to be.
What do you think is going to be like? People like cheerleaders, go, 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 or like a red carpet as they walk going up to the mash as they pour.
Well, I mean, most of the work was already done. They had already sat down and talked about their recipe and figured out what they were going to do. The ingredients were already there and ordered, and so I was expecting them to talk and be like, "Oh, let's try it. Let's try mashing in this way, or let's try doing this," or really, it was just all about learning about the other guy's system.
Yeah.
And even though they have very similar brewing systems, they fire them differently.
Yeah.
Horse and Dragon uses steam and High Hops uses direct fire.
Okay.
So really it was just a lot of curiosity on Zach's part, walking around and trying to look and be like, oh, this is cool. I like how this is set up, and I like how you guys set your pumps up and this type of thing, which was still interesting to see, but I kind of expected more of a, hey, instead of mashing this way or mashing at this temp, let's just
dial it up just a little bit.
Let's dial it up a little. Instead of 148, let's go for 152.
Let's see what happens.
Yeah,
Let's get crazy, man.
And it really wasn't. It was really just a lot of standing around watching Josh do, watching Josh brew. And, talking to Zach, he basically was like, well, that's exactly the way it's going to be because they're brewing it at both breweries. Mm-hmm. And he's like, well, that's exactly the way it's going to be when he comes to my brewery. He's going to get to stand around and look at all my equipment while I brew beer. And I got to thinking about it, and I was like, it's almost like when you go over to your buddy's house and he's home brewing.
Yeah.
You're not really doing anything. You're just standing there drinking beer, watching him homebrew.
Hey, dude, I'm
and
not
every
just
once
standing
in a
there
while
watching
he
you
lets you.
homebrew. I'm collaborating.
Every once in a while, I let you throw some hops in, or
dude, I call it collaboration. You call it come and drink my beer and watch me brew. It's called collaborating.
Yeah. So
there's a term for it in the brewing industry, which we're in.
Yeah. I did enjoy it though. It was fun to cover. It was fun taking photos and videos and getting to know those guys and kind of talking to them about how the process worked and how they came up with their idea. But I think probably one of the most interesting things that I kind of learned while I was there is how much it is like homebrewing in terms of if, how when you homebrew a beer and you're like, all right, the night before I'm going to get everything ready and everything set up so that when I get up tomorrow morning, all I got to do is just mash in and I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
Well, commercial brewing is very much the same way because Josh had every intention of graining in or milling the grains like the night before. Well, something happened. They were bottling late the night before, and he didn't have time to mill the grains. So when I got there at 9, they were supposed to be mashing in. He's still running grain through the mill and just trying to get caught up. And so I was kind of laughing, and I'm like, I do this every single time. I'm all gung ho, and I'm like, I'm going to be ready to go at 7 a.m. so that I can be done by 11. And then I end up drinking whiskey the night before and not getting anything milled or getting my kettle set up. And so at 7 o'clock, I'm out there fighting a hangover with a donut and trying to get everything milled and get everything in line. So kind of made me feel better about my process.
Yeah, you're like, I brew freaking hungover too. And my friend comes and stand around and watch me, so he's collaborating.
This is great. This is collaboration.
This is what a real brewery sounds like.
But there's some really cool collaborations going on here in Northern Colorado that I'm excited that we get the opportunity to cover. So,
we're going to try to cover as many as we can when we can. We still have regular jobs we have to go and make money at. So we're going to try to do our best.
To pay for the podcast so that we can drink more beer
so we could go
on the podcast.
And go and standing around and watch people collaborate. So I'm looking really forward to Collaboration Fest this year. Especially with getting all this, going and watching people brew and talking and getting out there into the industry a little bit more. And then we get a list of who's going to be doing what. And so far, this one was the one that stuck out was the blonde Baltic Porter that they're doing.
Right.
And then, but another one that stuck out is what West Fax Brewing and Resolute are doing. They're going to do a Beer de Mars. So
yes, I love Beer de Mars.
Yeah, so I'm like, oh man, that'd be really interesting to try. And I'm already putting a list together. You know how we went last time and just had the list and kind of circled and talked about it. I'm already getting that pre-list going of which ones I really want to try out as they're updating with emails of who's collaborating with what now. So it's one of those festivals. If you have not been to it, I would say definitely go. They do a great job. You get a beer right when you walk in, and it is getting a chance to try. This is going to be really interesting. I did not know they were doing the same recipe. So it'll actually see what the difference, direct heat and, and steam can do
it'll
to
be
a beer.
subtle
So,
and slightly different I think they're using different malts.
Okay.
I don't think they ordered the same malts from the same company.
Okay.
And their the fermentation methods and fermentation temperatures might be slightly different.
Yeah.
Baltic porters are typically lagered beers, so that's that process of the lagering temps will change things a little bit as well.
Sweet.
So I think there will definitely be. I'm not thinking subtle differences. I think there will be some fairly drastic differences between the two beers.
But it's only there where you at the festival you could actually really taste them right next to each other.
Right.
So that's going to be really cool. I'm going to really enjoy that. That's on the list to try out. You know, in my big glass.
Yeah.
When I get there early.
And our friends over at Coal Mine Avenue they're doing a collaboration this year.
Yeah, we're still waiting for Manuel. They're doing some kind of sour.
He's just the brewer.
He's just the brewer. He doesn't have that much information. He doesn't know exactly when it's going to be.
He doesn't know what they're brewing, when they're brewing it.
He says it was supposed to be a coffee smoked sour. I'm like, awesome, dude. We'll be there to cover
with
it.
Extra lactose.
But he was saying it was some kind of kettle sour that it was going to take a couple days. But he has been texting us saying that he thinks he has made the first brute kettle sour in Colorado.
Yeah.
I don't have access. The government shut down, so I can't get in there and verify the information. So,
that's why he said it. That's why he made that claim, because he knew there was no way we could prove it.
We couldn't, dude, we got to take your word for it.
Google doesn't know this type of stuff.
It's you put it in there. It's like, is this the first brute sour kettle made in Colorado? And fucking you get a big finger back from Google. Like, dude, don't you know the government shut down? Like, oh, my bad.
You ask Siri and she says, suck it.
Suck it. Like the sour. No. By what I've been reading online, it's actually getting really good reviews. So I'm glad for Emmanuel. He's just a brewer, but he's doing something right over there. Yeah. As long as he's just brewing beer.
Well, they're selling out of most of their beers, so they must be doing something right.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm very happy for him. I'm going to try to get over there, get some beer up here so we could do a couple beer shorts, or try to get them back on the shows to see if they could do a kind of a year later opening. Hopefully they could come up after sometime in July or August and do our first year kind of really sucked. We always kept running out of beer. Who knew people wanted to drink so much with their dogs around?
Yeah, I'm excited for those guys. And if you want more information, you can listen to their podcast, multiple podcasts that they've done on the podcast show.
Well, except for the first one.
Yeah, that one's lost forever.
Nobody could really ever listen to that. Just me and Matt.
Steve Jobs Ghost is listening to that episode up
with God and Tupac.
In Apple Heaven.
In Apple Heaven. Do you think they have iPads in heaven?
They have their own heaven there.
They probably do, but it's like no technology at all.
That's why it's heaven.
He's like, I thought my iPad would come with me. He's like, what? We don't get Wi-Fi up here.
No Wi-Fi here.
You guys don't. It doesn't come up here. God, what's your Wi-Fi password? What? We're on Verizon.
There's more beer in there. Do you want it? Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take the last bet. I had one last one, and it was just coming up on a couple different beer talks and blogs and stuff I saw, and people throwing a big fuss about it, and I thought it was kind of weird news, good news. So I believe it's the website called October, which is owned by AB InBev, put out their list of beers, top 5 beers of different categories, and it happens that one of their craft beers that they own made every list. So
they put out their own list of top craft beers.
Well, top craft beers, but at least like the top craft lager was something by 10 Barrel.
Okay.
And then one of the top IPAs was like Wolf Pup from Golden Road or something like that. So people were kind of being like, oh, that's kind of cool that you did a kind of a thing, but did you have to really throw your beers at the top when they probably are not
So
the top 5?
I'm assuming that these people are aware that AB InBev owns this.
Yeah.
So what would they expect?
Yeah, that's where I was kind of like reading. Everybody was like, "Oh, that's kind of wrong that they do crap like that." But some guy was like, "Well, but they own it. So if you own a website that talks about beer, wouldn't you be featuring your beers?"
Right. Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh no, it's just kind of funny." And I was like, yeah, whatever."
What's the name of the website?
October. Let me see if I can find it again. I saved the thing.
Just October?
Yeah. Anheuser-Busch Media Outlet just so happens to love Anheuser-Busch beers, which is so Anheuser-Busch.
But it doesn't say what the website is.
The current effort results in Hands of October.
Hands of October.
Try oct.co.
Okay. I have never heard of this website.
I have never heard of it either.
oct.co. And
see if I could find an article. I went looking for it, and I could not find it. But
how does so
I don't know if it's in a past article, but the guy was there was a different tweet about it, and then I ended up reading it on somebody's blog, and then it showed up on somebody else's thing, and I was like, oh, okay, because let's see if I could read the original. So Golden Rolled Wolf Pup, I think was top 5 in IPAs. Yep. And then 10 Barrel Brewing, Raspberry Crush, and Goose Island's Isley. They, talk about them like these amazing craft beers, but it is owned by...
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking at the website, and there's a lot of things that aren't Anheuser-Busch related, but I mean... Yeah, I guess if you're going to put out a list of top beers, you're not going to be putting out a whole lot of other stuff. I mean, I get it, I guess, but what I don't get is why people would be really upset about it, because it's just, what do you expect them to do?
Yeah.
What do you want them to do? And it's an Anheuser-Busch company or an Anheuser-Busch website.
Why are you even going and looking at it?
And I can't believe I've never heard of this website.
That's the first time. I thought it was
oct.co. I've never heard of it.
I thought they owned, didn't they own Rape Beer?
Yeah, they bought Rape Beer. Rape Beer. But I've never heard of this website. There's actually, it's a fairly well put together website. It's got some interesting stories. I've noticed that a lot of the stories that are on here are things that we've talked about.
Yeah.
So they're listening. They're listening to us.
We don't mind Anheuser-Busch and their craft beer. We drink Goose Island on this podcast.
Yeah.
Every once in a while when it's cold and not infected, except for that one time. But we knew it was infected.
Yeah. They have a podcast.
Yeah. And it's called the Hopheads Guide Podcast. What the fuck? So I want to go I think I sent you the list. And we could talk about it on air or maybe just really quick.
Okay.
And you give me a thumbs up of, yes, you'd love to definitely do it. No, you wouldn't. And
wait, is this like a marry, kill, fuck type thing?
Not really, because you can't fuck a festival.
Yes, you can.
Oh yeah, you can. But just kind of, while I was a lack of sleep and up with the kids all the time, I decided since I had time, I was just going to look up all the 2019 events and see when they were at. It's good to plan ahead.
Yeah.
And I only had a couple, and we, Collaboration Fest, we already got invited. So for me, that's a yes. I'd love to go.
Mary.
Mary's going with us. This year, the Colorado Brewers Conference is in Denver. In April.
Yeah, I'd love to do that one. Fuck.
Fuck. Fuck. I don't know if I'm going to be able to go. Burning Can is beginning of June.
Marry and fuck the hell out of it.
Marry and fuck it.
Yeah.
June's going to be a pretty busy time. If we could get invited or get really, 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 really cheap tickets to WeldWorks Invitational, that is in June as well.
Yeah, that one I'm going to marry. And fuck it slowly.
This one I was gonna put out to I hope it puts out to the Hopheads and Beer Geeks. This one would be really tough to go to when it is actually after the week after WeldWorks Invitational. It's the Homebrew Con, but it's in Providence, Rhode Island.
Oh yeah.
That'd be because it'd be really nice to actually go to one of those, but that one is actually a lot farther away than I thought it would be. But
yeah, homebrew cons are cool from what I've heard.
Yeah.
I think that one would be a cool one to go to. But I'm going to kill it.
You're going to kill it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's one of those since it is so far away, but it would be a good East Coast trip. Maybe a part BrewCon, part Beercation.
Right. Yeah.
And then you have the other one I put on there is GABF.
Yeah, I mean, Mary.
Yeah.
But dude, honestly, man, I think the GABF fatigue is real. Like, last year they talked a little bit about how they feel like maybe people are getting a little fatigued by GABF.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why the tickets didn't sell out. Don't get me wrong, I love it. I'm excited for it every year. But it's not one this year that I'm just like, oh man, I can't wait till GABF time. Like, I used to be like, GABF ended and I couldn't wait for the next year for it to come back. I'm not really feeling that way this year. And this year I'm kind of like, need to make sure that I'm available for GABF.
Yeah, I think if I don't know if I'll go back to doing the same volunteer position as a captain. If I could get back on my old crew, I might jump back on. And if I could get a free place to stay, that's the only way I'd go. I don't know if I'd do media. I think there's...
Don't say that, because we're applying for media again this year. They might actually listen to an episode.
I would probably do media. But I'm also would be willing to work out something if with my team that I could actually go to a session or miss a session where I could actually get to an event.
Yeah.
Like the Suds and Stogies event or something,
Right. Yeah.
In that nature. But
that's what I'm most excited about are all the events.
Yeah.
Because last year, actually getting to go to a lot of those events, really made it the festival for me.
So maybe we don't apply for media for GABF, but we apply for media for all the events.
No, I'm still going to apply for media for GABF.
But to the Hopheads and Beer Geeks out there, if there's other events that you think should be on our radar, go ahead and hit us up at hopheadsguide.com or hopheadsguidetothe.galaxy.com.
Or email us. Podcast at hopheadsguide.com.
Podcast, yeah. Matt says it all the time. He has it written down. I had to say it last time.
I have it written down in my brain.
Because you hiccuped so much. So I had to because it was email.
Another thing I'd like to get some input on from the Hopheads and Beer Geeks is we got episode number 50 coming up. So this is 47. I thought the last one was 47, but I miscalculated. This one is 47.
Oh, okay.
So we got 2 more episodes, and then we have 50.
Okay.
And I think 50 is kind of a milestone for
is.
a little podcast like ours. And I'd like to do something special. I'm not really sure what that is. I'm thinking maybe do 6 mics again, where we get...
What if we don't have 6 people? We just hook up all 6 mics?
We just hook up 6 mics.
And we're like,
But maybe inviting 6 randos, just
that'd be weird.
6 random people off the street.
What are you doing today? Well, I'm getting my restraining order lifted. You want to be on a podcast? Do you drink beer? We got beer.
Go to the DMV and just grab any random person.
I'm just getting out of my AA meeting. You want to come talk about beer?
You know, or at the very least, maybe Nico and Blake and maybe Justin and maybe Wade.
Yeah.
Wade likes to touch cans, though. So
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
it's hard.
I'd like to, if we can, get 6 people, but maybe since it's our 50th episode and we're old, we do the Half Century Club. So we'll drink an ounce of beer every minute for 50 minutes.
Ooh, yeah, I like that. I like it.
And so we'll have a little...
That's not a half century, though.
Well, the Century Club's 100.
Yeah,
for
but
100
it's...
minutes.
Is it 100 minutes?
Yeah.
I thought it was for an hour.
No, that's the power hour.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The
So
Century
basically,
Club's
it's a shot of beer every minute for 50 minutes.
Yeah. So we're almost doing the power hour, but we're stopping 10 minutes short.
It doesn't sound exciting at all.
So we get at least half of our podcast is us going to be going talking, and then it's going to be like ding, and you're like,
Well, we did a power hour, but we're old, so we can only handle 50 minutes.
well, yeah, because we're old. It sounded good when I started talking about it because it's the 50th episode, so I thought 50 shots of beer. Then I was like realizing, oh, that's almost an hour. Might as well just go for the full hour.
And so 50 shots is, that's 100 ounces.
No, you just 1 ounce pour. You just do 1 ounce.
But a shot's 2 ounces.
Well, I know, but we always just did 1 ounce of beer.
Who's we?
And I used to do it in freaking high school and college and
Elementary school.
and elementary school.
With the juice boxes.
Fuck yeah, man! You want to get a rush?
All right. Yeah. Let us know what you think about that idea.
Yeah, it might be a thing. We were supposed to do Edward 40 hands for our 40th, but then we'd be getting the mics all jacked up, and he couldn't adjust any of the levels. All you hear dink, 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 dink. So it's better than drinking 40s for our 50th.
Yeah, so make sure that you rate us on your favorite podcast service. Subscribe, like, all the things that you can do. Do you have anything else?
Nope, that's about it.
All right, good, because I was going into the finish up. I was wrapping it up.
I thought you were. I was
wrapping it up.
I thought we were
baby.
already there.
I was wrapping it up. Also, you can become a patron. Become a patron of the show. Help support the Hopheads Guide podcast. Keep this thing rolling. For as little as $1 a month, you can become a patron. And you get access to our private Hopheads and Beer Geeks Facebook page. You get access to all of our hidden tracks, special episodes, special videos, topless videos that Jake does.
They're awesome.
You can't tell he's topless. Sometimes he shaves his hair into like a tank top.
Yeah.
So it looks like he's wearing a tank top, but really he's not.
No, I'm not.
So yeah, you can go to the Hopheads Guide to the Galaxy.com, click on the podcast page, and right there at the top, it has a link where you can become a patron, or you can go to patreon.com/Hopheads and become a patron there. Like I said, it helps us out a lot. It keeps things rolling for us, and it gives you access to a lot of new stuff and limited stuff that we have in the works. Plus, Jake has some really cool T-shirts coming out that some will be exclusive to patrons, and some patrons will get first access to.
Yeah, and so Robert, you actually have one coming to you here pretty soon.
Yeah.
So in like 2 months,
First patron, he gets the first T-shirt.
Yep. First patron gets the first shirt. So we'll be sending that out, and so just look out for that. And we're gonna try to do some pre-sales on there. Hopefully, some more video stuff from me and Matt individually, maybe together, maybe with a donkey. We don't know yet.
It's gonna be that kind of Patreon.
Hey, man, we need all the listeners we can get.
El Patreon.
But we're going to try to do a lot better job this year to get recording and adding more stuff onto that. We actually figured out our regular jobs and said, hey, you know what? Let's just plan on recording. So we're going to, we have a set schedule now for the rest of the year, which is kind of amazing because last year was like, when do you want to record? I don't know.
Yeah.
Try to, I can't do it. It's already set in the calendar, so we're ready to go.
Yeah, it's officially unofficial. But the biggest thing you can do is whatever device you're listening to us on, go ahead and just click the rating button, give us a rate, give us a review. Those are the things that help us the most because the more ratings we get, the more reviews we get, the more it puts us out there in front of other audiences and stuff.
And photography.